Heather O'Rourke got her start in Hollywood playing Heather Pfister, the 7-year-old daughter of Ashley Pfister, a divorcee who was once Fonzie's girlfriend in the 10th season of Happy Days. She appeared in 5 episodes of that season, but she's most famous for portraying Carol Anne Fleming in the hit 1982 Steven Spielberg film Poltergeist and its 2 sequels. O'Rourke's unexpected death in 1988 at age 12 sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry, and the unusual circumstances of her passing fueled a lot of parents' fears that maybe such a fate could take their children away just as abruptly. What made her death especially unsettling was the fact she lacked prior symptoms of the bowel defect that supposedly killed her. Dr. Daniel Hollander, who heads the gastroenterology department at the University of California Irvine Medical Center, told the AP that given her diagnosis, he would have expected her to have already had a great deal of digestive problems throughout her life. But instead, she developed the condition all of a sudden. Other specialists unrelated to the case have cast doubt on the official cause of death as well, by suggesting her death was instead caused by some kind of birth defect. But regardless, there is very little disagreement over the fact that her demise was extremely unusual. A private funeral was held at the Westwood Village mortuary in L.A. for the young blonde actress. Terry Merriman, a spokesperson for the Children's Hospital in San Diego, revealed that Heather died of septic shock due to congenital stenosis of the lower intestine. In layman's terms, she died of a shock brought on by an infection that entered into her bloodstream. That blood infection was likely caused by a birth defect that made a portion of her small intestine unusually narrow. Mike Meyer, O'Rourke's manager and lawyer, put out a statement shortly after her death, confirming she didn't suffer from chronic digestive problems early in life. The narrowing of the bowel wasn't even discovered until after she underwent surgery. Sadly, Heather went into cardiac arrest while being transported to the hospital and died on the operating table. It's speculated O'Rourke's underlying health issues might have been congenital in nature, but it's also equally possible the bowel narrowing could have come on suddenly due to inflammation. Congenital bowel narrowing very easily could have caused her sudden death even after living without any symptoms. An infection could have caused the bowel to rupture or become torn, at which point infection and bacteria could have entered her bloodstream, leading to sepsis. Mike Meyer further revealed a section of her intestine ruptured after swelling to almost 4 inches in diameter. She had actually contracted some kind of intestinal parasite the year prior, most likely from drinking contaminated well water at her family's former home in Big Bear. Some doctors concluded it was this parasite that caused her intestines to become inflamed. While intestinal narrowing is clearly observed shortly after birth, the issue is normally addressed through surgical means, by removing the narrow section and attaching the normal, healthy section to both of its sides. A similar procedure is often performed for those suffering from Crohn's disease or similar inflammatory bowel disease. The medical community was dumbstruck by the unusual circumstances surrounding Heather O'Rourke's death. Normally, when a child is suffering from such a condition, it's a big deal right out of the gate. Most children who are unlucky enough to be born with this abnormality have to receive a great deal of medical attention from an early age. But Heather seemed perfectly happy and healthy in the days preceding her death. Some think her death was caused by a Hollywood curse. Steven Spielberg's Poltergeist is often regarded as one of the most terrifying horror films of all time, but some people seem to think it's one of the most cursed films in Hollywood history as well. Doused in superstition, fueled by a handful of mysterious deaths of its cast members, the 1982 film's grim legacy has followed it for almost 4 decades. Some subscribers to this spooky curse even feared it might have carried over to the critically panned 2015 remake, but we'll get there in a minute. The Poltergeist Curse, as it's come to be known, first started being seriously discussed after 4 cast members died under mysterious circumstances. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. The origins of the curse. A lot of people think the Poltergeist Curse got its start the same year the first movie was released. Actress Dominique Young, who portrayed the older sister of Carol Anne in the film, died a sudden and violent death shortly after its debut in 1983. She was murdered by her abusive, deadbeat boyfriend, John Thomas Sweeney. Young had to be put on life support after Sweeney strangled her in a fit of rage, but unfortunately she died 5 days later. According to news reports and court reports from that period, Sweeney was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and sent to prison. Julian Beck. The actor who played Carol Anne's most fierce opponent, the doomsday cult leader Cain, was the next to fall victim to the supposed curse. Julian Beck sadly never got the chance to see the release of the second film in the trilogy. He died from complications of stomach cancer on September 14, 1985, at age 60. Beck, who was far more than just an actor, was an avid lover of the arts. Throughout his life, he proved himself to be quite the talented director, poet, and painter in addition to being a gifted actor. He became famous after co-founding and directing the Living Theater in 1947. That theater company prides itself in being the oldest experimental theater group in the U.S. Will Sampson. The third actor to fall victim to the alleged Poltergeist Curse was the man who played Taylor, the benevolent ghost, in the second movie. He scored his first big break when he landed the role of Chief Bromden, the unusually large, gentle giant who presents as deaf and mute in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. His next major role was as Crazy Horse in the 1977 Western The White Buffalo. Sampson suffered from a chronic degenerative condition called scleroderma, which compromised his heart, lungs, and skin. The disease took a major toll on his body. While at one point he weighed 260 pounds, at the time of his death he weighed just 140. The condition led him to become malnourished, and after undergoing a risky heart and lung transplant, Sampson died of post-op kidney failure on June 3, 1987. He was only 53. The curse continues. When Poltergeist was given the reboot treatment in 2015, some superstitious appreciators of the film quickly reignited the old Poltergeist Curse rumors. While the film was universally panned by critics and moviegoers alike, fortunately none of its cast members died. In a Reddit Ask Me Anything session, however, the film's director, Gil Keenan, recalled that during the production there was indeed a little bit of, quote, paranormal activity observed on the set. According to him, the lights that could turn on anywhere else throughout the neighborhood would suddenly blow out the second you tried to light them while on set. He also noted he used a lot of aerial photography for the film, but for some reason, the drone pilots could never lock onto the GPS signal while in the field. They would have to move 10 feet away to launch the craft. Now it's time to hear from you. In the comments section below, let us know whether you believe in the Poltergeist Curse or not. And be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.